Good morning, fathers of daughters. This is Ephraim B. Martin. I am 58 years of age, and I am a girl dad. I am the father of four adult daughters, ages 35, 29, 25, and 23. Welcome to Girl Dad YouTube channel. This is another live stream. Hope you fathers had a good week. Hope you fathers are doing well. And hope you fathers are handling your business with your daughters. Like I said, this is another live stream. And this week, what I want to talk about is fatherless daughters. So, what is a fatherless daughter? Well, it depends on who you ask as an adult woman what a fatherless daughter is. I was blessed enough to raise four adult girls, and I have an amazing relationship with my adult daughters. They are amazing women. They don't have any daddy issues. And it was a blessing to just have them as little girls, seeing them mature as young adults and reaching full maturity as adult women. I speak with a lot of adult women fathers, and a lot of adult women feel that they are fatherless daughters. And speaking to these women, a fatherless daughter can be a daughter that didn't have a father that raised them, or it could be a father that was a part of their life, who lived at home with them, who provided for them financially, but not necessarily there emotionally for them or to validate them as little girls. So it's very, very interesting to have these discussions with adult women because a lot of them have issues. They have fatherless issues with their fathers as adult women. One of the things that I try to do my best is I stay in contact with my daughters as much as I possibly can. They're adult women. They have their own lives. They're doing their own thing. But I do make sure that I am in constant contact with them. I just need to hear their voice. I'm not really big on the whole technology, texting, and I'm old school. I'm Gen X. I need to hear your voice. So as long as I hear my daughter's voice, I'm doing well. I'm doing good. Speaking with adult women that have issues with their fathers or their adult parents, it's very interesting dynamic. I do understand. I myself was raised by a single mother. By default, my father was murdered when I was 2 years of age. So I definitely understand what it feels like not to have a father. My mother was everything to me. Rest in peace. My mother passed away when I was 25 years of age. Excuse me. I had her for 25 years of my life. So what my mother was able to teach me in those 25 years was amazing. She wasn't able to teach me what it is to be a man, but she taught me a lot of valuable, great lessons. She taught me how to take care of myself. It's interesting. My mother used to refer to women as heifers. And she always used to tell me, son, those heifers are not ever going to hold you hostage. And I never understood what she meant by that until I got older, when I went into the Marine Corps at 18 years of age. And what she taught me was, she taught me how to cook, she taught me how to clean, and she also taught me that she was not going to allow any of these women to hold me hostage. I was always going to be able to take care of myself. So with that being said, I do understand what it feels to be fatherless because I didn't have my own father. Speaking with adult women, it's interesting hearing their stories, the disconnect that they have with their fathers and their mothers, but particularly their fathers, the emptiness that they feel as adult women. And a lot of these adult women, they're not in contact with their fathers. And for me, that's very disturbing. But I do understand why after speaking to a lot of these women. A lot of these adult women feel that their fathers failed them as young girls, as little girls. Some of them had their fathers in the household. Some of them didn't have their fathers in the household. The ones that did not have their fathers in the household, that is understandable when it comes to them not trusting men as adult women, them possibly having issues with relationships, forming relationships with men, not trusting men because they didn't have that guidance from a father. Fathers are our daughter's first love. We are dads. We're their first love. So if we're not in their life and we're not there to guide them and instruct them and show them what love looks like on the inside and validate them, our daughters can end up a lot of different ways emotionally, right? So is being a fatherless daughter any different than an absent father? Well, you'd have to speak to the women that feel fatherless. They have their own stories on why they feel fatherless. You know, I've always made it my business. I've always overextended myself when it came to my girls, and let me explain why. I believe that I overextended myself because of me not having a father, not having a male to guide me. Although I always had my first cousins, I always had my uncles, and I always had good male mentors. I still didn't have my father, but I had men in my life that made sure that I stayed on the right path. I had men in my life that were honest with me. I had men in my life that were good men that never took advantage of me, right? So although I didn't have my father, I had other men in my life that showed me the other side. So I'm grateful and I'm thankful for that because I know that those are the things that gave me my skill set. Those men are the men that helped me um, become successful. I believe that all children need a mentor and need guidance, right? And particularly with our daughters' fathers. I worked in the criminal justice system for 20 years. I'm a former state of Colorado juvenile probation officer. I've been a paralegal since 1984, certified paralegal. I was a paralegal in the United States Marine Corps. And I also worked in K-12 education as a teacher, restorative justice coordinator, and a dean of students. And one of the things that I saw with little girls in particularly, raising daughters myself, is in the criminal justice system, I didn't meet a lot of fathers. That was very disappointing for me and very disheartening for me because fathers, they were doing other things other than I felt supporting their daughters. When their daughters got in trouble in the criminal justice system, I can count on one hand how many fathers I met in the almost 10 years as a probation officer. And that's just crazy to me because I know the impact of fathers and how they, the impact we make on our daughters' lives. We have to be available for them, fathers. We have to validate them. We have to validate their feelings. We have to validate them as little girls. Because if we don't validate them as little girls, they're gonna grow up one day and they're probably not gonna want anything to do with us as their fathers. I meet a lot of women. I've spoken to a lot of women that have father issues, that have daddyless issues, and they feel fatherless. And they just have issues connecting with men. Their relationships have not always been good with men. They don't trust men. They think that most men are just going to take advantage of them. One thing I learned early raising my daughters and working around children and families for 30 years is that your tone with your daughters, your tone with women is very, very critical. You have to have a good tone with women. It can't be aggressive, right? I get a lot of pushback from men that have told me having a loud voice is a good thing. I totally disagree. My daughters will tell you I've never yelled at them. I've never raised my voice at my daughters. And if you are a man that comes to my daughters and you're trying to have a relationship with any of my girls and you raise your voice, that's a no-go. It's not going to happen for them. They will keep it moving quicker than you came into their life, because my girls do not play that. If their own father never raised his voice at them, you are not going to raise your voice at my daughters and expect them to respect you and allow you into their space and allow you into their life. My daughters don't get down like that. So I learned early that tone is critical when it comes to dealing with our daughters. You don't have to yell at your daughters, fathers. Are you going to get frustrated? Absolutely. Are you going to be stressed out? Absolutely. But your tone with your daughters is going to determine your effectiveness with your daughters. I can promise you that. My daughters tell me, Dad, you know, the fact that you've never yelled at us, that you never raised your voice at us, that means something. Because we have a lot of friends that their daughters, that their fathers didn't respect. They just didn't respect them. You know, they were always yelling at them. They were always cussing at them. They were always saying, you know, they weren't going to amount to anything. And it just doesn't make any sense. Baby boomer parents and Gen X parents, we were raised a certain way. I have two daughters that are millennials. I have two daughters that are Gen Z. They're different kids. They were raised in a different environment. They were raised on the internet. They were raised during technology. Gen X parents, we are the very last children before the internet. So we didn't have to deal with what our kids are dealing with. Yes, we had our own struggles. We had our own things we had to deal with as Gen X and baby boomers. But we did not grow up in the generation of school shooters and school violence. Those things we didn't have to deal with. I couldn't imagine the high school, my junior high, and my high school, going to high school worrying about being shot, being murdered. You know, those are real traumas for our children. So we have to respect that, baby boomers and Gen X parents. We can't dismiss that with our children because those are real issues, right? But when it comes to our daughters, fathers, I'm telling you, I wrote a book on it, Daddy's Girls. And the reason I wrote my book is because I believe I have the blueprint. I'm not saying you have to do it my way, fathers. Absolutely not. But the dialogue that I used and the strategies that I used with my daughters growing up, my daughters are fine. A lot of these young girls today, a lot of adult women, they're jacked up. They really, really are jacked up. And they blame their parents for them being jacked up. They blame their parents for not being available for them. They blame their parents, period. They just blame their parents. You know, I cannot imagine not having a relationship with my daughters. I cannot. I see my daughters as often as I can. I have two daughters that live here in the state of Colorado. My oldest daughter lives in Texas. She's a college professor. My youngest daughter lives in California. And I speak with my daughters all the time. And the reason I'm always speaking with them, I have to make sure that they're safe and protected. I'm not there in their life. So I can't provide the protection and safety like I used to. They're adult women now. They're living their life. They're moving a certain way. They're on their careers. I'm loving how they're moving. I'm loving how they're getting down. I'm loving how they're making their decisions. I have no worries about my daughters other than they're no longer in my house. But adult women that are fatherless, they feel a certain way, dads. A lot of them don't even deal with their fathers. They have a dislike for their fathers. And it's just crazy to me how many adult kids I meet, they don't even fool with their parents. And I'm constantly told by a lot of these adult daughters, it's because the issues that they have with their dads are unwilling to even acknowledge and hear from their daughters, which is crazy to me. I could talk to my daughters about everything. My daughters, they know I listen well. And if there's something that I did or didn't do in their childhood and they bring it to me, I have absolutely no problem apologizing for what it is, and I have absolutely no problem acknowledging. Most of these adult women just need acknowledgement, dads. Our adult daughters, that's what they need. They need acknowledgement, right? And when they don't get that acknowledgement, they have decided as adult women, they're not going to deal with their parents. I recently sent my adult daughter a video of some adult women, and I'm going to do a live stream on it because I think it's important. This video was just disturbing to me. All the adult women from all socioeconomic backgrounds are talking about how they don't mess with their parents anymore. They don't deal with their parents. Their parents are dead to them. I cannot imagine my daughter's not speaking to me. I can't imagine not having a relationship with my daughters. I cannot. That would be the death of me. Not being able to have a relationship with my girls. I cannot imagine, because I've never done anything in their life that was foul. I've never done anything to my daughters to where I put them in harm's way, to where they ever felt they were taken advantage of, to where they ever felt they weren't supported, to where they ever felt they weren't listened to. I've always done everything in my power to do right by my daughters. And they validate that for me. They definitely validate that for me. They have told me that over and over and over again. You know, I've asked my daughters, is there anything I could have done different in your childhood? And they tell me, Dad, absolutely not. You were the best father. You listened to us. You cared for us. You did everything to keep us protected and safe. I'm far from perfect fathers, but the one thing I have been is consistent in my daughter's lives, birth to 18. And as adult women, I just ride with them now. It's just cool hanging out with them. It's good seeing them. Baby boomer parents, Gen X parents, I'm telling you, if you don't have a relationship with your adult children, fix it. Get it together. Fix it. Because we're getting older. We're not getting any younger. And when our kids decide to cut us off, and if they have kids, that means our grandbabies are going to be cut off to us. Like I said, a lot of our adult daughters, to get the relationship back with them dads, you just have to acknowledge what they're asking you about. Acknowledge the discussions that they want to have with you. A lot of them are hurt on so many different levels for so many different reasons. And as a parent, I just can't imagine not having a discussion with my adult children. That's crazy to me. Why wouldn't I? If they are feeling a certain way, they should be able to bring that to me. We should be able to, as adults, we're adults now, right? The adult relationship with our children, it goes both ways, dads. They are not the ones that are only responsible for reaching out and staying in contact with them. We have to stay in contact with our daughters and our kids. It goes both ways, right? I don't expect my daughters to always call me and to check in on me. I'm checking in on them. I'm seeing how they're doing. I need to hear their voice. I need to make sure they're protected and safe. Dads, come on now. We got to do better, man. Fathers, we got to do better with our adult daughters. Because that just doesn't make any sense to me. Not having a relationship with your adult daughter, with your kids, they don't want to mess with you. That's just crazy to me. That's just crazy to me. At almost 60 years of age, I ain't got time to have no ego with my daughters. I ain't got time to be tripping with my daughters. I ain't got time for my daughters to be checking me. I ain't got time for my daughters to be telling me I'm embarrassing to them. So fathers, we're in control of that. Listen to your adult daughters. If they're telling you they felt fatherless, there's a reason why. Have that discussion with your adult daughters. It's going to be better for them and it's going to be better for you. We don't have time, fathers. We're getting older. We're getting older, man. And the last thing is, if something happens when we get sick, for our daughters to not want to be a part of our lives. Okay. I'm done, dads. And until next week, I'm going to holler at you. Peace.